And welcome back. Today we are working on part 4 of our 6 ravine challenge. We're going to move into the Kintz Ravine today. So sit tight, let's get moving. And here we go. This is part 4 of the 6 ravine challenge in the order that I do it. We are on Trail 5. This is the rugged section of Trail 5. And let's be truthful, a lot of these trails look very similar. I'm okay with that because these are the kind of trails I like to hike on until I get tired and start tripping and falling down, and then I rue my decisions all the time. So this is Kintz Ravine, and I had a little bit of a hard time trying to figure out who Kintz Ravine was named after. And I did a bit of research, and it turns out that J.W. Fridge, who got the shades up and running as a real entity, married Elizabeth Kintz. So there you go. We have a little bit of history there that was nice. They were married in 1891. She died in 1919. They were from the Terre Haute area, Vigo County, Indiana. So they were mostly local people. There's a lot of history about them. I had a really good website that I found yesterday. I had a link to it that takes me nowhere now. I don't know what happened. All my searching has been for nothing today, so we're just gonna rock and roll with it. So here we are. This is the Kintz Ravine signpost. So if you're doing the 6 ravine challenge, you gotta stop here and you gotta get a picture. They're off a little to the side, as you saw the last video. Sometimes I miss them, and I have to go back and see. I have hiked back when I'm not videoing it just to get the picture, because that's what you got to do if you want to get the sticker. And we've said it before. Stickers is what makes life good sometimes. So this J.W. Fridge, he was an interesting cat. He owned a store in Terre Haute and got involved with shades. Before it was just the shades, it was the shades of death, as we've talked about it. And he got into it with a group of other people. But up until this time, he used to visit this area with his parents, and they would come out here. And believe it or not, at one point, Shades was a huge deal. They had an inn or something like an inn. It was a big house that people could come and stay at. They were known for their spas, their water wells, maybe mineral like an artesian well. The water was coming out of the ground, and people would come all over because it had these great health benefits. For a while, Shades had more visitors per year than the Grand Canyon or Yosemite. Now, if we keep that in perspective, it sounds amazing, right? Because it does sound amazing. But you got to remember that for a long time, transportation around the United States was difficult. Their cars were not reliable. It might take you 2 weeks to get out to Arizona or California from this area. So people, oh, look at that. That is, am I going up that? Maybe. It looks like some things have happened there. Got to go off the side a little. Yes. But anyway, it was difficult to get out to those parks. It was not as easy as it is today. So people from the Midwest, this was an easy place for them to get to. And I think that's amazing. If you go around Shades now, there's really no evidence that this huge building ever existed and things like that. There we go. It was a 40-room inn, souvenir shop, dance hall, and they had several cottages, a saddle barn, and a theater where silent movies were shown. This was a big deal. Um, they had a big gate there that, isn't there anymore. Now we have the little cabin that's there that, if you get there early enough in the day, there's no one there to take your money or check your pass. But Shades, back in the early part of I guess it's the 20th century, always forget how centuries move. It was huge, okay? We know that Turkey Run was the second state park after McCormick's Creek, and Shades only got turned over to the state after J.W. Fridge died. So I don't remember when he died. Let me see if it's in here. He died in 1939, and his family tried to keep it going. This was, it was not a little bit of work. They tried to keep it going and were unable to. And so they ended up giving it or selling it to some sort of consortium, which then donated it or sold it to the state, and it became the 15th Indiana State Park. So there's a little bit of history. There's so much more history of Shades that I didn't know about. They talk about it being a slower pace, less visited park today, and it definitely is that. And that's part of the reason I like to come here. There's not a huge amount of visitation, but on the other hand, I think, as we've talked about previously, sometimes that means that did I find some trash there? Looks like I did. There's not much. You don't find much here, but gotta keep your eye out for it, because it does hide. And then, of course, trying to hold a camera and manage my trash bag at the same time, it feels like it's a nightmare sometimes. This is a different day than the last video, so I don't know if there's a huge amount of difference. It's all of a sudden there's been a lot of changes. This was back in October. We're in the middle of November today when I'm doing this, and we just had snow here in central Indiana, and all the trees just instantly shed their leaves. So we're coming up to the ladder, and this one is a little bit weird because you have this big dome thing, and usually I'm just on a mission to get up that ladder, but I think I come around and, take a look around here, because why wouldn't I? And did I see something? I see this. We see all these tilted beds, and that's interesting. So it is all sedimentary rock. It's sandstone, as we talked about. And all this stuff typically gets laid down flat. So it's not tilted, it's flat. Yeah, I found something down there. And so either these things were laid down on an angle, which could have been, because we talked about, did we talk about this? We talked about this was, toss it so I can get back to it. This, a lot of the sandstone came from a river delta, a great river delta. So if it was on the edge of the delta going into like the lake or the sea, then it could be tilted over like that. But otherwise, it could have been some sort of upheaval that made those beds tilt. But hey, go take a geology class. It can be fascinating stuff. So we're going to climb up the ladder here. Don't get a whole lot of trash here. That's great. We've got 2 already today. I don't know if we get more. I don't remember. Trying to get my stuff together. I'm probably still on the ladder, maybe. There we go. It's very dry. Well, it doesn't look all that dry, but it's pretty dry. Sometimes there's a lot of water coming through here. Did I find something else? I did. I thought that was a leaf on my screen here, but oops. Making us all go nuts as I put this back in my bag. But sometimes there's a lot of water flowing through here. If you come in the spring when we get a lot of rain, would I consider this dangerous to walk through? Sometimes you can get really a lot of water coming through here. I've hiked at Turkey Run during that time, and these ravines or canyons, whatever you want to call them over there, can have an easy couple feet of water in them. I've had to go through an area that was dry like this one week, and then the next week it was up over my knees with water, and it's not the most enjoyable. Don't judge me. It's a 90-minute drive to get out here, so I'm going to get my hiking in one way or another. And once you get far enough in there, you don't realize how bad it is, and then all of a sudden you do, and you think about, how would I get back? You know, it was kind of miserable. It can't be this bad for this long, right? Yeah, it really can. So, but we're coming up to the end here. Everything is smoothing out. This is a nice little trail. Again, we're coming back up. There's our signpost showing the end. Up there in the light is the parking lot. So these are all, oops, I found something else. Look at that, lasering in. Is it what is that? Some sort of little glass vial or something. I don't know. I like this time of year because you can get into the woods a little without trying to ruin things or anything. So anyway, this is the end of the trail. There we go, Trail 5. Thanks for coming along. And this is just a map of the state showing the general location of where this park is. Central, western part of the state. And then this is a bag of trash I picked up the other day while I was out hiking. There was quite a bit. Not a whole lot interesting, although I found a pair of shorts that I was kind of excited about because they looked pretty good. I was just going to throw them in the washer and then maybe wear them until I realized they were totally ripped to shreds. So that was not going to work for me. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Next one will be the waterfall, so I hope you come out for that. See you then. Bye.